So the Lord directed me to Ezekiel 47 last night, and I had been hearing him say this all day yesterday, and while I was out, I was looking at the sky, right? And it wasn't like I intentionally was just staring at the sky, like he was doing some things. The first thing that caught my attention was this cloud that looked like a crown, but it also looked like the Hebrew symbol for fire. And I'm going to insert a picture in this when I edit it. And I remember him showing me that symbol a long time ago. But at the time I couldn't, I couldn't remember what it meant. Then after that, he showed me, like he had me looking south, okay? The sun was in the south sky. And the clouds looked like water ripples. They looked like a stream flowing. It's like if the sun was up here, there was water flowing down from it. That's how the clouds looked. And I was mesmerized by it, and what instantly came to mind was like a river flowing, a stream, like pouring down, okay? Blessings coming in. The sun represents abundance, and the sun just started coming out now because it's a cloudy day. Enemy is attacking my voice right now, y'all, because he does not want me to put this out. But if you have been following my journey, if you have been following the videos I've been putting out, right, it has all been moving in chronological order, okay? The Lord's message is building on itself. And like I said, we started back in Jeremiah, where he was talking about, Lord, why does it seem like my enemies are prospering? Like those that plot against me seem to have more favor and seem to be set up higher and doing better than me. And it's like, my heart, that I'm with you, that I'm following you, I'm staying in your ways. But I seem to be suffering. And then from there, he ushered us into Joshua chapter 4, where it was talking about the Israelites crossing over the Jordan, right, into Jericho. But the Lord had to go before them with 40,000 men to fight a battle, to fight a war, before the Israelites could finish crossing the Jordan. And this was him signifying that you ain't got to worry about what your enemies have or what they look like, okay? Because they're not of me. What they have is not permanent. It's not going to last, okay? It's 11:11, y'all. But he went before us, right? He's fighting on our behalf against our enemies and those that are plotting against us, right? He's fighting against the enemy, and he's removing the obstacles and the barriers so we can then be ushered into our promised land. And if you remember back in Jeremiah, he literally God literally came to Jeremiah and said, look, those who trust me and have faith in me, I'm going to have you planted firmly like a tree near a river. In other words, this tree next to this river is going to always bear fruit, and it's going to be everlasting, and it's going to be permanent, right? So then after we've gone through Jeremiah 12, after we've gone through Joshua 4, then he ushered us into Isaiah 8 and 9, and this is where he had declared victory, okay? Declaring victory and saying that to the victor goes the spoils. To the victor goes the spoils. So anyone who wins a battle, you're then able to partake in whatever you want to take, right? That is your privilege. That is your honor for winning the battle. And the Lord has already declared one. It was a fixed fight anyway. Nothing that comes against the Lord is going to prosper, right? And if he's fighting on your behalf, well then all you need to do is sit back and let the Lord do what he's going to do, because you're going to win anyway. He declared the victory, and he said to the victor goes the spoils. The harvest is now yours. So in Jeremiah 12, he gave us the promise. In Joshua, he's gone before us to fight our battles. Isaiah, he has declared victory in the battle. And now we are in Ezekiel 47. This is the Lord basically saying, like, hey, look, okay, I've now given this to you. I've done my part. I've given you and done what I said I was going to do. You have now been ushered into your promise. Okay, you are now receiving your inheritance. You are now receiving the spoils and the harvest that have come out of this war. This is what I need you to do with it. Okay, and this is what it's going to bring you. This is him describing the promise. Again, I told y'all, I said the sun was in the south. The sun represents abundance. These clouds were coming down out of the sun like a stream, like a river, okay, like a stream of water. And like I said, what I kept hearing was overflow and pouring down. Like the blessings are going to start pouring in and trickling down, and it's going to be like a ripple effect, like it's coming in waves, okay? The abundance is coming in waves as you are now in your promised land. And it's going to be permanent, like it's not going to stop. Because if you think about a river, they don't really seem to have an end. It's like they have a mouth and they start somewhere and then they flow somewhere else into something else, but they never really end. It's going to be everlasting. The man brought me back to the entrance of the temple. I saw water coming out from under the threshold of the temple toward the east. The temple faced the east, is what it's saying. The water was coming down from under the south side of the temple, south of the altar. He then brought me out through the north gate and led me around to the outside of the outer gate facing east, and the water was trickling from the south side. Okay? And since this is my study Bible, it says here, the stream under the temple is a reminder of the river that flowed out of the Garden of Eden. It represents life flowing out from God to his creation. Okay? And it was reminding us about the Samaritan woman who took of this life-giving water. Like this water is, it's literally God-given, and it's going to be the best that you could ever have, right? It is the abundance that flows from it. As the man went eastward with a measuring line in his hand, he measured off 1,000 cubits and then led me through water that was ankle deep. So measuring in water also refers to sound. Lord has been showing me 10:01, okay, on the clock every single day. And 10:01 means palace or fortress, temple, but it also means in Greek sound, to take measure of water. So Lord has already confirmed, one, the temple, by using the time of the 10:01, which again means palace or temple, house, temporary place or a shelter. But then also he has confirmed the river by showing me the rivers in the skies. But then also going back to the 10:01, he is literally referring to this man taking sound of the water. He is taking measurements as he's going further and further, which was an instruction that he gave me moving forward, is that we need to be taking measure as we follow his instructions. We need to move so far, check with him again, receive his instructions, then go again, take measure. Then he led me back to the bank of the river. I saw a great number of trees on each side of the river, referring back to when he was talking to Jeremiah, right? When God was talking to Jeremiah and said, you will be planted firmly by a river and it will bear fruit. This water flows toward the eastern region and goes down to the, I'm going to say Araba, but I hope I'm saying that right. But this is another way of saying the Jordan Valley, okay? The Jordan. When it empties into the sea, the salty water there becomes fresh. Swarms of living creatures will live wherever the river flows. There will be a large number of fish because this water flows there and makes the salt water fresh. Abundance, okay? Where the river flows, everything will live. Everything will live. Fruit trees of all kinds will grow on both banks of the river. Their leaves will not wither, nor will their fruit fail. Every month they will bear fruit, because the water from the sanctuary flows to them. Their fruit will serve for food and their leaves for healing. That is the harvest and the prosperity the Lord was talking about. All right, so in the footnotes it says the volume of the water increased miraculously. No tributaries are mentioned. In other words, this was really done by God. And it says the mighty river from the temple changed the salty Dead Sea into a sea of life. The power of God transforms death into life. And that goes back to that symbol that we saw earlier, the shin, which means transformation.